Oh boy, have I got a fun one for you today. Today, we are going to learn how to screw two bits of wood together. This is 2 Minute Tuesday. So back in the days when I used to skateboard, we used to like rob grannies, we used to smash windows. I'm joking, we didn't do any of that. We used to build ramps, and we always struggled with the bit where you put the screws in because the material would sometimes separate, you'd have heads poking out. It was a bit dangerous and a bit dodgy. So this is how you do it properly. 2 minutes on the clock. Let's go. Okay, so like I said, what a lot of people will do at this point is they'll just pick up a screw and they'll pick up a drill that looks a little bit smaller than the screw. They'll pilot a hole through that, and then screw it together. But sometimes when you do this, that material starts separating and you have to bring the screw out and then back in and then out and back in, and it will eventually start binding it up. But there is a proper way of doing this. So if you look at a screw, you've got the head, you've got the shank, and then you've got the threads which are along that shank. So when we're drilling the pilot hole, we want the drill to be exactly the same size as the shank. So this one I'm holding now, I just picked out of my box. If you look at it, it's actually ever so slightly smaller. This is a 2mm drill bit. However, I reckon if I switch to a 2.5, you might be able to see that that looks a lot better. So it's a similar size to the shank, and you can still see the threads of the screw poking out either side. So that is our perfect pilot hole. So if we were screwing these two bits of material like that, the pilot hole would go through here and through this component as well. So let's just do that quick. So this is where a lot of people will just leave it. Perhaps they'll countersink the top here so that you can let the head into the top of this wood, but you still have the problem of the material being pushed apart. And this is where a clearance hole comes in. The clearance hole, we do the same size, if not a tiny bit bigger than the threads on that screw. So this is a 4mm by 30 screw. This is a 4mm drill bit. So the clearance hole is going to be drilled through this top component here. So I'm going to do a little test fit. Perfect, so it's a really nice fit in there. So now we have 3 clearance holes that the screws can go straight into like that, and then they will still bite into this component below. However, the heads are still sticking proud of the surface, so this is where a countersink comes in. Now a countersink is simply a cone-shaped drill bit that matches the angle on the top of the head here. So if I put this in the drill, make sure they're all located in there, and then simply get your screw, put it on a low torque setting. And there you go, nice stress-free joint, no gaps whatsoever, heads below the surface. I think we are done. And there you go, that is a technique that I wish I knew in my skater days. It would have saved me a lot of effort and wrist cramps trying to screw those in by hand, but yeah, that is how you do it effectively. Little plug here, there's not even an affiliate link for these whatsoever, but Axminster sell these screws called Woodspur, or under the name Woodspur, and from what I've heard from tradesmen, carpenters, furniture makers, they absolutely love them because they are brilliant for the money. The heads don't shear off. They're self-tapping, self-countersinking. Have a look at them, because if you don't like the cost of screws from like your standard home supplier, they're a really good bet. A lot of people are liking them at the moment. So there you go, something for you to look into there. Otherwise, we're all done. See you in the next video.